double digits. That's right. 10, technically 11 produced episodes of a podcast. I'm shaking Ben's hand at the start of the episode.
That's when you know it's serious.
I'm also metaphysically shaking yours as a way to say thank you for listening in, keeping us going. You know, we are continuing to keep plugging away. We're trying to keep this thing moving, keep this thing grooving. It's actually pretty exciting and it's pretty noteworthy. That of course, it's the week that we do the 10th podcast. We're actually going to be launching some of the YouTube stuff this week. We're trying to get a lot of stuff out the door, so we're going to keep this ball rolling. We're trying to expand Keep Pluggin into a bigger venture, and just thank you to everyone who's kept listening, kept us going, and has allowed us to maintain the level of success we have every week. So just thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, so Ben, without further ado, let's get down to brass tacks. So as always, we're going to start the show by taking a little look back into the history of video games, and
yeah.
Ooh, we do have something that is genuinely very near and dear to my heart picked up this week.
This one, I'm nostalgic for this one. This is some formative gaming for me,
as well as for me.
Cool. So as usual, we're doing a cheat with the release because this is the iPad version 2014 release, which is April 7th.
All right.
But it's Pajama Sam. Which was the first one in the series was actually 1996, and that we were talking about how that was kind of on the tail end of the golden age of those point and click adventure games.
It was
like Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle in there.
Day of the Tentacle was Day of the Tentacle was 92 or 3, I think. There was Monkey Island, all those like LucasArts Tim Schafer games.
Yeah.
What else was there? There was it Road Rash or was it something with road in it? I forget the name.
I don't have a lot of experience with those games.
Mm-hmm.
But Pajama Sam and the other Humongous developed ones like Spy Fox and
Humongous? Papa
Humongous,
bless.
Yeah.
Papa bless. I'm sorry. I had to.
As well as Pajama Sam, Spy Fox, Freddy Fish,
which is like the kiddier one that you immediately.
Freddy Fish and the car one.
Oh,
I'm forgetting the purple car. Were both like the baby ones.
Yes, yeah, Ben. Oh my God, dude. Oh God. Okay, so, obviously, me and Ben are both children of the early '90s. So we were like at the perfect age for these games. These kids, if you guys don't know, Pajama Sam was the beginning of this Humongous Games line. They were these point and click adventure games that were designed for children. But especially with the Pajama Sam series,
and I'd say Spy Fox as well. They were more mature.
They were more mature. They were sophisticated.
Even though geared toward kids, but sophisticated. Yeah.
Yes, they were geared toward kids, but sophisticated. They were kind of a good analogy would be like a Pixar movie. Like they're things that maybe are designed to be family friendly, but they have broad appeal and genuine quality behind them. So the first Pajama Sam was like highly praised, like by mainstream game critics, as well as becoming a big family game. Actually, my experience with it was the old public library had it on the computer. That was my first experience.
Yeah, I think I had it on my home PC. It must have been from my brother or something. I'm not sure if I personally ever installed that, but I definitely played it at home. And the first one was called Don't Go Into the Dark or something like that. I forget the title, but the one I played was the Eat Your Vegetables one.
Oh.
That was a few years later. And I think each one you start in your room, right?
I believe you do.
And then you find your way to like a mystical other land.
Something like I'm trying to remember. I think if I remember correctly, Eat Your Vegetables was 2 or was that 3?
3, I think.
That was 3. Yes. I think I played 2 first. Because the original one was 96, so we were a little young for that one. So I guess.
Yeah.
I think the other ones came out. I think 2 was 99 or 98, and then I think 3 was 2000 or 2001. So that one in particular would have been at like the perfect time where like we were like 6, 7 years old, like the exact time that we'd be like playing video games and stuff.
That's probably why I played that one.
Probably that would make sense. Yeah. I think I played a couple of them at least. I definitely played at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
If I never played, maybe I've never played. Well, you have actually gone back and recently played all of them, right? Or was it just
No, not all of them. The vegetable one I got on Wii. They released a couple of them on Wii.
That's cool.
And they work because of the pointer. It's just pointer controls.
Okay.
So you just have the Wiimote and click on stuff. And Yeah, I actually played it through with Dan, probably last year or something like that on the Wii, and it's I think we beat it in one sitting. Like it's always cool to go back to games like that, and something like if I were to just think back to when I first played it as a kid, it's something you get lost in, and as a kid you don't know like how games work and the scope of things, so it feels like you're really lost in this world. But like as an adult, we go back, we could beat it in 2.5 hours and understand all the game systems. It's kind of interesting to
Yeah,
have a new look on that kind of thing.
that's such an interesting point there too, because there is this thing where like, and I think we even talked to this on a couple other games in the past. This idea of when you're a kid, something can be like the hardest thing in the world, and then when you're an adult, it's just like, oh, this is fairly easy. I don't know if the Pajama Sam series is considered easy, but I do know that at least in terms of the quality of the puzzle making in the games, the first two especially are like very praised by the mainstream, which is interesting. So, did you find that there was some things that were challenging still, or just like did you just like the overall design so much you didn't really care?
I wouldn't say it was challenging, but I think I still saw the cleverness
Yeah,
in the puzzles. So it's like it's still satisfying to play. I wouldn't say challenging though. And you get all the you click on stuff, you get the animations. It's a silly game, so you click on everything, even if you don't get a key or whatever, you get a funny animation.
something comes out of it. You get
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some kind of enjoyment. You get something out of it. All right, yeah.
And I remember through like junior high and high school, they'd have advertisements for these games because I guess they're semi like educational games or they're just appropriate for kids to play. So I always remember they advertised them on the milk boxes at school, and I was just proud that I was a player of those games and no one else knew what they were.
Yeah, it's weird. I actually, what was it? I was talking with a couple friends, who are a year younger than me, or a year younger than us. We're both 93, and they like a couple of them knew what Pajama Sam was. A couple of them didn't. It was actually around the time. Fun fact for those who don't know, Pamela Adlon, who was on Louie, she has her own show called Better Things Now. She was also the voice of Bobby Hill, and she was the voice of none other than our good friend Pajama Sam.
Yeah,
So I believe I was watching the premiere episode with some people, and I dropped that fact. It is weird, like how some people do know it, some people don't, because I don't know if they were obscure games. Like they were very popular. Like it was a series, but I guess maybe because they were more a mid '90s thing, and we were obviously born in the early '90s, but we really were like quote unquote children in the late '90s, early 2000s. Maybe it's something that our generation kind of missed, and some of us picked up on.
yeah. And I
Uh,
think it's also something that's somewhat niche. It's popular within a group, but it's not mainstream at all.
that would make sense. And an interesting counterpoint to that too is that again we kind of brought this up at the beginning, but just kind of elaborate on it more. The game started in the golden age of point and click adventures, but by the time the series was wrapping up, and then even two with Spy Fox, which we haven't touched on so much, but that's another fantastic game. These games were coming out towards the tail end of what is considered the golden age of point and click adventures. Like the late '90s, early 2000s, those games kind of fell out of style, but these games maintained popularity with children. And interestingly enough, even though they don't get recognition, they do come out of that same era, and they are part of that same design philosophy. So it's interesting to highlight something like this because it's something that doesn't really get its due, especially the first and second Sam and Spy Fox. Although three is really good too. Um,
And they hold up. Like
exactly.
just going from all the re-releases, like they're on iPad, they're on Wii,
Yeah.
they're on I think Steam just got the entire catalog of humongous games.
Humongous games.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I still can't. I still can't help it. But yeah, no, I mean that's awesome because like those games deserve to be on Steam. They deserve to be held in. I don't know if it's. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily say it's like as good as something like Maniac Mansion or Day of the Tentacle or Monkey Island, but they don't deserve to be like considered second class either. Like they are great games, and
And
uh,
they serve that uh purpose of like that Pixar purpose.
Pixar purpose.
Yeah,
That's a good word for that. I like that. All right,
that's coined. Pixar
coined,
purpose.
coined.
Finding Dory 4. I mean,
Finding
wait.
Dory 4. You first off, it's not even. Well, I guess Finding Dory is 2, so then the next one would be 3, right? You just skipped a film, or is it Finding Dory's
Let's
series?
move
Wait,
on.
is it? Wait, I need to know. Hold up. Is it Finding Dory's series? Is this like there's been three other Finding Dory movies,
Yeah,
or
Finding Dory is not Finding Nemo 2.
do you mean it's? It is the sequel to Finding Nemo, though.
Yeah, Toy Story 4 though. That's what I meant to say.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, that's coming. I forgot about that. All right, on to the next thing. So now that we've kind of talked about what's going on with our good boy Pajama Sam in the past, we are gonna skip on over to our good friend Regular Clothed Link in the present and continue our limited series Hyrule Handbook. What did we?
I like that.
I think it was Hyrule Handbook.
Yeah, I
Hyrule
don't think it was anything. I think it was Adventure Log.
Hyrule. I like Handbook better.
Hyrule Handbook sounds good.
Hyrule Handbook.
I like the alliteration. Pixar purpose.
we're great in the alliteration today. This is a peak night for us in alliteration. Alliteration and us are best friends right now.
Best buds.
Best buds. You should make that the episode title. There we go. All right, now that we've kind of gone over that, we've kind of discussed this a couple weeks back. For any listeners that don't know, we normally do a what we've been playing segment. Obviously, we've been playing Zelda, so we're gonna try kind of each take a turn, tell a story about our time in Zelda.
Yeah.
Do you want me
instead of broad strokes, we're just gonna
specifically
go over some stuff that happened.
We're gonna paint you a word story with the canvas of our mouths about what's going on in our time in Zelda. So, tell you what, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first this time, Betty boy?
Oh yeah, let's start it off.
Start it off.
So I found this tidbit out the other night that if also we want to preface that could be mild spoilers.
Yes.
For Zelda, we're gonna speak more freely than we have been. You know, nothing too crazy. But if you haven't played the game and you're opposed to hearing anything, you're warned.
Okay.
So yeah, the Sheikah sensor, you know that
how
you can basically put a tracker on a shrine or whatever you've logged into your compendium, and if you scan the Wolf Link amiibo, which I do often, and you have a signal on your Sheikah slate, Wolf Link will lead you there. So I've been having trouble this one shrine. You know when you get the beeps and you're trying to follow it, but you just don't know where the hell it is.
Oh God!
A lot of times I'll be like above it, like directly above it, and it's like in the mountain or something somehow.
Okay.
But I got to this stable, and you know how there's a shrine basically next to every stable, just so you can teleport there for purposes like that. Well, I decided to. Before that, I was looking for the shrine for maybe like an hour and a half, and scanned that Wolf Link boy in there, and he led me right to it. And
Wolf Link's the man.
Yeah,
that's cool. So I actually did not know that about him. That he had. I knew he could do treasure and stuff. I didn't know he could do shrines and stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever's on your signal, he'll lead you to.
Oh,
and it was pretty helpful because I mean I probably would have found it eventually, but I decided to give this little mechanic a whirl. I like to try everything out.
It's a good boy.
And he led me right to it. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
There we go. All right, nice. That's an interesting trick. I mean, I don't have that amiibo, but I know for me, we've kind of talked about. Obviously, we don't want to get too into generalities here, but I have found that the more I played the game, I know when we were first going over it, I was saying I was having a lot of trouble. I have gotten a lot more used to the sensor.
Yeah.
I'm still not perfect, but like it is very directional based. I have gotten kind of used to the idea of you just kind of have to walk into a direction, and then you just kind of tilt a little bit, and then you see if it like gets stronger or weaker.
Yeah, once you learn how to finagle it and kind of move Link around in the way that affects it most, you get the hang of it.
Yeah, you kind of get the word idea. But what else has been going on? Paint me another word picture, Ben, with your beautiful mouth.
Well, I've been I followed this one quest line, and it led me to the conclusion that I had to kill a Lionel.
A Lionel.
And the Lionel are like the centaur creatures in the world, you know. And,
they're like the them and like the Hinox or whatever are like kind of like the two like mini bosses of the world, more or less.
More or less, yeah. And then you got the rock monster too, the Talus guy, which are cool.
I haven't actually. I just got to Gerudo Desert, so I haven't came across any of those guys yet. I know they exist.
The rock guy? Those are all over the place.
Oh God, oh them. No, there's something else in the Gerudo Desert, right? There's like
there is, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the if you play the game normally and you kind of lead up to the first dungeon, how the game wants you to, there's a specific thing they want you to collect shock arrows. You did this part right? You must have.
Yes.
You have to collect shock arrows from the top of this mountain, and there's a Lionel creature guarding his arrow stash.
Yes.
And the first time I went up there, I played it stealth because I was, really weak. And that's interesting how they push you into that because you really got to play it stealth at that point.
Yeah.
So it makes you do some stealth work.
Well, they do kind of through like hints and stuff, kind of make it like a stealth segment. Like it's kind of
yeah.
It's
And just the sheer fact that you're not strong enough
Yes.
to do this yet.
Which I mean, that's also dependent though, because again, this is kind of tied to me and Ben have kind of alluded to this. This is a line to the the elephant divine beast, which is more or less kind of the one that I feel like the game nudges you in the direction of doing first.
Definitely.
I'm interested, like, if you didn't do that though, if you played the game differently, and you played it a little bit later when like maybe you were like higher level, if you would have still done the stealth.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Maybe you just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But having done that stealth first, I had that in the back of my mind for a long time, and I just decided at a certain point, like, I'm gonna go mess up this Lionel, yeah. So I remembered where he was and went back, and it was like this moment of remembering how intimidated I was by this battle during the first parts of the game, and I was just like so ready to go into battle. Like,
so you took on that exact Lionel too. You went back to the source.
I went back to that exact
I
Lionel,
love it.
like round 2, motherfucker. And I had this like, I set up myself with all this equipment. You know, like when you just ready yourself and you're like ready.
Yeah.
And I had some yellow hearts popping off.
Oh yeah.
And I had just gotten the stasis upgrade. Have you done that?
Yeah, I think I have everyone except for. Do they all have one? Or
not all of them.
The Magnesis doesn't have one, and the Cryosis doesn't.
Yeah, but
I think I have everyone.
So yeah, and I had just gotten the stasis, which lets you freeze enemies, and so going with that, I felt much more confident laying him down. And
it is fairly short though, but you can still get some damage in.
Exactly. Also, I don't think it actually damages him, but it like messes with his head, and then you get some hits after the stasis runs out because he's confused.
Maybe it doesn't. I know on some enemies it tallies up the hits afterwards. I think.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe he's just too strong or something.
Maybe
that would. But it definitely still helped me.
Oh yeah.
And that was just one of my first like most empowering battles. Going back to this guy like fully upgraded, and I also finished him off first try, and really satisfying. You said you had a similar encounter.
I've been sitting here ready to go. So I do have a very. It's actually crazy. Like they're very similar. So my story begins. Well, first off, my story actually begins with a simple tale of a boy and his dragon, or a boy trying to chase after a dragon, so we can get some scales and do some things in the world. So I was I'm not gonna say what and when because we do want to be a little bit non-spoilerly still, but obviously if you guys haven't played the game. And you want to be or if you're brand new and you want to be like totally blind, turn back right now because I'm about to say some stuff. Well, I kind of said it already, but I was going after one of the dragons in the world. I'm not gonna say which one. I'm not gonna necessarily say where I was. It wasn't a snowy place though, which can mean multiple things and multiple dragons. But it was in a snowy place. I was going after a dragon, and I found this Lionel just chilling on the plateau. So I was doing my thing. I was using a Rivali's Gale, which you've played the bird one, right? You know about Rivali's Gale.
I have, yeah.
So yeah, Rivali's Gale which is, if you guys don't know, boost you up, which is that's my favorite one. I have to say.
It's really helpful.
I use that one all the fucking time. Like that is. I only have 2 so far, but that's the one I use.
It recharges pretty fast too.
It does. I love that about it. Like Mipha's Grace is fantastic, but it does take a while. But I actually like that Mipha's Grace takes a while to recharge. It doesn't make the game feel too unbalanced.
Yeah.
Mipha's Grace gives you guys like well, you guys, if you guys are listening to this still, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. But so I was using that, and I noticed him, and the cool thing that I like about the game is that they give you a pretty wide breadth to get away from the Lionel if you want to. Because I know I did the same thing you did. I actually took on that Lionel that you're talking about. The first try.
Yeah.
Just because I'm terrible with the stealth in the game. I'm not terrible with it, but I'm good with going in and out of stealth. I'm not good with consistently doing the stealth in the game. Like, I played the stealth in this game the same way I would play something like Far Cry, which is like, I stay in stealth as long as I can. When someone spots me, I kill a couple people, or I try to attack some people, and then I try to run around and get back into stealth. So I was doing that for a bit, and then I was just like, screw it. I took him down. It was fun, but it like took everything out of me because I was a little underpowered still. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. So for the last, I guess I'm at 80 hours now. So like, I was maybe at like 20. So the last 50 to 60 hours, I've come across like half a dozen Lionels. I've just been like, no, fuck that, and like I've just gotten out of there like as fast as I could. I've been like, nope.
I run away from them
Oh,
often still.
all the time, yeah. I can, but like to be fair, there's something kind of fun about that because like in certain areas, like you have to figure out like how, especially like before I had Rivali's Gale and I couldn't just like boost up like, or if it's like a time that I like it's like recharging, like you have to figure out like, I found one on a mount on this on the way to Mount Lenara. There's like that mountain pass or whatever.
Yeah.
There's one there. And I found it, and then there's like a Hinox, which is like one of the mini bosses, like 5 feet away from him. So I was like, "Oh God, this is death."
Not about to encounter both of these guys at once.
So I literally just like very slowly climbed at the side of the mountain, and he noticed me and kind of started to come at me. But I guess there's like a wall you hit where he's like, "Okay, screw it, I don't care anymore." And I just hit that in time, and I was like, "Oh, thank God." Because
Yeah, that wall can be really nerve-wracking sometimes when you're running away from a battle and you're not sure if they still want you or not.
Because especially with him, he has like he has like an amazing bow, and he can kill you like in one hit, basically.
With the ones with the shock arrows, shoot, they just get you from far away.
Yeah, so we're kind of getting away from the point, but I think this is a nice little side. So basically, what happened was I found this guy, I got away from him, and I went back and I was like, you know what, I'm done. And I went up to him, I fought him, didn't go so well. I did something, I don't know if this was cheap or not. I want to actually have a conversation with you because I did something, which is I just reloaded it and I just did the fight again.
Okay.
Now I don't know. Normally, in a game, in an open world game, I actually don't really. That doesn't mind me. I don't consider that like cheating or whatever. Because it was like I used a lot of my stuff. It was like I didn't know, I didn't do this well. I know I could do this better. Let's do this better. So
I mean, I always save right before I go into a situation like that. I don't usually find myself reverting the save, but that's not for lack of planning too. Like my goal is to do what you did. I just don't end up doing it.
Yeah, you end up just doing the fight.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't always do it. I only really kind of do it. It's only really in combat that I remember, and even then, I feel like I don't have as much as I should. Because like especially with stuff like the fairies, which like, I mean, you can get a new fairy for the most part like that, but I'm very protective about the fairies. Like if I feel like I didn't use it correctly, I will reload, but I don't tend to. Either way, it was a blowout fight. I'm not gonna say it wasn't hard still. It definitely was, but it took a lot, But like, there's something interesting. Like, I don't know if you've seen actually. Polygon did a whole article about all the crazy ways people are fighting Lionels. It's becoming like a big thing because they're not necessarily like they don't have like the big health bar. I don't know if they're considered like a mini boss, but they're basically considered by like the community one of the toughest enemy in the game. That's not a mini boss.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't know what you'd consider a mini boss.
Yeah.
To me, it's like kind of size based.
Oh yeah.
Like because the Hinox guys and the rock monsters are just big.
Yes.
So to me, they feel like bosses.
Yes.
But the Lionels are seem the strongest and most intimidating.
They do, and those encounters are maybe a little bit more. I've actually my next thing is I haven't done a Hinox yet, so I need to do that. But the Talos, I take those guys out like nothing now.
Oh yeah.
Because once you figure out you can just climb on top of them and like just get like a two-handed thing and just like.
I also just love that mechanic that they turned the climbing into a boss.
Yeah. That's such cool. That's so cool. And there's something really empowering when you first figure it out because like you might get your ass handed to you a couple times by them.
Yeah.
Like I remember like the first one, the Great Plateau, I used all my like bomb and fire arrows. And I was like, this is so frustrating, and I figured I could do that, and I was like, yeah, like it was the best. And same thing with the Lionels. It was just like, I love this, I'm gonna get him, I got him, it's great. But the coolest thing I want to just mention before we end up, did you see someone? They had 3 hearts, no armor, and they only used magnesis, and they beat a Lionel.
I think I did see that actually.
That was fantastic.
And there were some good maneuvers there. That's actually the way they did it was a pretty good strategy. I'm just not sure where you can find that magnetic rock. That's what they did, right?
Yeah. Yes, I think they had to bring it into the fight. Well, I guess in that case, I haven't been to that area yet in the game, actually, believe it or not. So I don't know too much.
I'm not sure yet where it was. You brought it up, so
I mean, I've seen the video, but like it's from like the tropical region that I haven't been to yet.
okay.
So I guess I'm gonna venture a guess to say that they either picked this Lionel because it was close to it, or maybe they brought it from like somewhere else.
You're right. They could have brought it from wherever.
That'd be amazing. Like I would actually really be even more impressed if they did that. Um, that's about all I have to say about our good friend. Do you have anything else to add, Ben?
No, that's pretty good. Got through some Lionel battles, you know.
So getting into the next thing, then going from Zelda to the system we're playing Zelda on. Today is actually the 4th. Today is April 4th, so
The
day after
the
a month.
Switch month anniversary.
Merry 1 month since Switch, Miss Ben.
Merry one month since Switch anniversary.
Oh,
Switch anniversary month.
happy Switch anniversary month to you too. It's our first Switch anniversary month. It's so special. The Nintendo Switch came out a week ago, a month ago, a month and a day ago. Today. Me and Ben have had ours since launch, as you guys know. We did a whole special episode with our buddy, Super Duper Switch special episode, Colorful Friend, this new Colorful Friend. Check it out. But me and Ben have had it for a bit, and we never
How long?
really a month and a day.
Oh yeah.
A month and a day. Well,
True, true.
because you got yours. We both got ours on the 3rd. I just got mine a little bit later.
I've had mine for like 12 hours longer.
You have. That's right. I waited forever. That was not a fun day. That was an agonizing day in my life. Oh man. Oh man. That was an agonizing day. But hey, it was worth it all in the end, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I will. That's something I don't regret is getting a Switch on launch.
I don't either. But the interesting thing is actually you and I haven't really. Well, you have gotten a Wii, but I've never gotten a console at launch, and we're not by any means like launch console experts. If anything, I think we kind of tend to fall into the camp of people that wait a bit before we get a console. But I know you actually. This is your first 8th gen console, I think, right? 7th or 8th gen, whatever this gen is.
I have no idea what generation we're in.
Whatever.
That's all muddy and not real to me. But
also, I guess the Wii U technically counts as this generation too, so that's not true. But you had a Wii U, you had a Switch, but I know you still like we've always talked about it. Like I keep pressuring you to get an Xbox One still. I just got my PlayStation 4 last August, so we're both people that I think like to play it safe, and we don't mind taking our time. But with the Switch, we both decided to take the leap. So I guess kind of going through it first off, before we kind of talk about our personal opinions, we're gonna kind of touch briefly upon. There's been a bunch of wacky stuff going on, and I guess in general, what this is going to lead into is kind of just a general discussion about like console launches and the kind of weird quirks that come whenever you're getting new tech. Because the Switch has definitely not been safe from that. I know just yesterday we were both finding out about what is it? This new thing is like the warping. Ben, can you touch on that?
yeah, I can. And yeah, it's just like not. Besides the Wii, I got near launch, but
Yes.
most consoles I didn't experience these little quirks and things like Red Ring of Death. I was not a part of that, fortunately. But
I actually got a yellow light of death on the PlayStation, which is super rare. So.
Yeah, the Switch has seemed to me like it actually has a lot of quirks like that, and then it also might have something to do with them pushing the console out before holiday, and obviously, not to say like it's half baked or anything, or that I'm dissatisfied, just that you can kind of tell that everything's simplistic and is just enough, you know. So it's like it could have used a few more months in the oven, you know. Not that it's horrible, but
it is foundational.
It wouldn't have hurt to
Interesting.
work a few more these little iron a few more things out.
So what do you specifically mean? I guess are you talking about software or hardware or both? When you
I'm talking about hardware, and yeah, to go back to this new thing coming out about the bending.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture floating around of someone with just a straight down shot on the console, and you can see that it's clearly bent near the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying that the iPhone, the giant iPhone 6s that were released,
not even,
that was happening to people from putting in their pocket, and you're showing me yours right now is kind of bent.
Yeah, not even the giant ones, even the regular ones. This was like a big thing. Like my 6 is a little bent.
But like that's much thinner, and I don't
Smaller.
know who's putting the switch in their back pocket and sitting on it, but
Well,
a lot of claims are that it's overheating and like
yes,
warping itself in the dock.
yes.
Do we
Uh,
believe those claims?
I mean, there's a lot of people making them, so I just because a lot of people are making the internet doesn't mean I would, but it does seem like there's, and some of them are people from that work for major publications. So I mean, at the same time, I'm not saying you should always trust the media, but I would tend to believe that it's happening to at least some switches. I guess the question is how many. In general, with everything we discuss in this section, I think this is going to be an important thing to keep in mind, which is that we live in an age where the internet turns everything into an echo chamber. So
Yeah,
how big?
5 people out of how many million sold is like a
Yeah,
normal thing for any new electronic.
yeah,
For a couple people have issues, but yeah, it's overblown on the internet because everything circulates within a minute.
exactly, exactly. That's exactly it. And it is hard because like you want to report on things, you want to well, not even in our case, we're not really necessarily reporters, but like we want to have a conversation about something, but you have to keep in mind like, okay, how many people is it actually affecting? Like, can we get a statistical number? That said, it seems like it's affecting some people, and I don't know, like I do know, and you and me were actually talking about this before. The thing is, and this is the crazy thing about having a console at launch, like, normally I see these stories, I'm like, oh, sucks for those people.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I literally, the first thing I did, I told you this, I was like watching a video on my phone. I literally just dropped my phone on the table. I was downstairs in my living room. As I've explained before, I live in a 3-floor house. So I literally walked up all 3 flights of stairs into my room, checked it like immediately, brought it downstairs, took a picture with the camera, and then just like, I don't know, I think I just started playing Zelda and like with the video in the background. But like the first thing in my mind was like, I was like, I have to check, I have to make sure. And
You're saying you watched a video about the warping,
yeah, someone
about
there's
the
a
switch warping, and it scared you?
yeah, it was a couple a couple news sites have reported on it. Review Tech USA, the No. I think I was watching a Review Tech USA video on the guy, but that guy too. I don't know if you watch his videos. He's very like some people too. Here's the other issue. Some people will bring something up and kind of like be like, this is fucked up, this is happening, this is like they'll like be very like especially now in this age where we do have, as much as we talked a couple weeks ago about how it's such a cool good thing that we have these fans and these impassioned people, there is some times where I do feel like people make a mountain out of a
Yeah.
molehill. So
Hashtag Bendgate.
hashtag, yeah, exactly, like Ben Gate or
You just throw a gate on some at the end of something, and it's
yeah.
becomes a controversy.
Yeah, well, that was the first one. What was it? It was Kickstand Gate or whatever. With like the, although that scene, that video was ridiculous. I think we even talked about this. But like people got fucking crazy about that, and yeah, like it's so easy to do that right now. So I just want to keep a grain of salt. I mean, I know you did the same thing. You looked when you read about it, and yours was fine. Yours wasn't
Yeah,
bent.
I actually, yeah, I didn't think about it. Like you said, you were like, oh shit, and went ran upstairs to check it. Me, I was more like I was reading about it. And I was just like, oh, let me take a look. Like I didn't even think about it. It was just instinct to check mine.
Yeah.
But I think we're both good, right? We're not getting
No,
that issue.
no, that's fine.
Although the claims about the scratching to me don't seem unfounded, just because mine was scratched
That's right.
on the back. So yeah, that scared me and got me to buy a screen protector for
All
the
right.
front.
Which I believe is the first piece of accessory. Well, I know you have a case that you got with Zelda, the collector's edition, but
Yeah,
I guess other than that, that's like the first accessory you've bought for the system.
yeah. And I'm usually not about screen protectors. Like I take really good care of my stuff, and
You do.
I don't my iPhone isn't even scratched. I don't use a screen protector for anything really.
You're very good.
And but this had me worrying, so I bought one of these like tempered glass or whatever they are, and man, was that really nerve wracking. I was sweating bullets putting it on. Like you know how you have to get all the dust out and everything, and it's yeah, I don't know, it just gave me anxiety to do it, but luckily they sent me two screen protectors in one package, so the second try worked out pretty well,
Right.
and now I got a screen protector, and it kind of like is this just extra bit of thickness, so it fits a little more snug inside the dock. So I don't know. Now it's scratching the back of it more, but no, not really. I'm enjoying it.
There you go. I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy for your screen protector. I'm trying to think now too because this this scratching thing. I honestly haven't paid too much mind to it, which is probably terrible. But I haven't noticed any scratches on mine. Then again, I am the kind of person who like would have a dent in their phone because I literally do. I literally did like crack my iPhone screen again for the second time. I already had to get it replaced once because it got so badly cracked. But I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason like maybe I have a little scratch on it somewhere that I haven't noticed. I'm gonna expect that now. That's because again, like I guess this is more something I have to actively think about, but just because I'm not quite on the level of curatorial genius that our good friend Ben here
Oh wow, I don't
is.
even know what that means, but sounds like a compliment.
Curatorial, like you're good with like keeping care of things.
Oh cool, I like that.
I mean, I guess curatorial is more than that, but man, I'm just trying to think now in more general sense about accessories because we are kind of at that point now. I know we were both kind of like, oh, we're just gonna have the Joy Cons. We're just gonna play for a bit. We're gonna see what we want.
I'm still kind of at that point, you know. I really do want a pro controller, but I'm just something about the purity of just having what came in the box, you know.
Oh yeah.
And like I was also just remembering back to the Wii and my first Wiimote. That thing was like so used, and like you said, curatorial, right? But even that Wiimote was like dead and gone after so many
It was like
years
the
of
town
just
Wiimote. It just got passed around.
yeah, that was the one. So I kind of something there's something nostalgic about getting to that point with my like launch set of Joy Cons. I don't know.
There is something interesting. Although as you know, I have a horror story with the Wiimote. I hope mine never gets to that point. But
Yeah, we've been through that. But
yeah, we have. Oh man.
also also I was just thinking a lot of other aspects of the Wii launch and how it feels a lot like that to me.
Mhm.
And especially just playing Zelda as the launch game.
Yeah, because that was the same deal with Wii.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually the same exact deal with the cross-platform
Yeah,
game.
which is interesting. Another interesting point of comparison between the two because I think I mentioned this before. I also got my Wii. I got it in April, so launch window like April 2007. And I got Zelda with it too, so very
Mm,
similar experience. Also got Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, which was actually a fun game. I enjoyed it.
nice.
I don't know though. So you obviously want a pro controller. Is there anything else besides that like I guess right now there's nothing that's really a necessity, but like what do you think your next purchase would be besides a pro controller?
Um, I don't know. I mean, personally, I think just games. Like, I got a case,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking forward to that Pro controller. And after that, I think I'll feel set. Honestly, like I already feel fairly set. My only desire is a Pro controller, and after that, I'll save all my money for games.
Yeah, I actually literally it's very funny. And we didn't plan this, it just kind of ended up happening. Right before me and Ben were gonna sit down and record, my buddy, who I've been telling to be on a lookout, if you guys aren't aware, but maybe some of you are, if you didn't get a case at launch, it's been kind of rough out there. So I didn't get a case. I've been using a bunch of different things as cases. I used my Nintendo 3DS box as a case at one point, as a reminder of the sins of my past, slash a Nintendo themed carrying case for my Switch. My buddy just found one. He bought it for me, and I am gonna pay him back for it and get it. So I guess besides that and a pro controller, I'm about the same. I do
Yeah,
definitely want a pro controller.
that's really the thing, right?
I do also want another set of Joy Cons, but I've made my
You can't bring
thoughts.
yourself to purchase that
Just
for the price.
I made a very crude statement about what I would rather do than buy a Joy-Con pre-show.
Well, you know, if you ever change your mind, don't force yourself to not buy them just because of what you said.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna have to do what I said too, probably
What what was that?
bleach my asshole.
Oh,
Clean.
yeah, that
Remember
was
that?
off air, but
That was off air, but now it's on air.
you
Now
did
it's
say you'd rather bleach your asshole
I
than buy a pair of Joy Cons.
I did say that. Let me
Now it's on air.
now that
Yep.
it's on air,
Now you're held to it.
let me back that up. Now I was pretty vehemently. This actually I don't think is something we ever really talked about on air. I was a little vehemently against the Joy-Con price point at first. In general, I'm not 100% happy with all the prices. I've definitely explicitly said that on the podcast before. $70 for the Pro controller, I'm not a fan, but that's also not the worst. $80 for the set of Pro controllers drove me crazy. I like no $80 for the Joy Cons. What am I saying? Drove me crazy at first. Like I went on a tirade about it, and I've cooled down and I've calmed down in it, and at some point they're going to be great to have because again, they are, you know, with certain games you can use each one as a controller. There's a good value there, and I think I really do like the tech, especially after a month. I love the Joy Cons. That's been the biggest thing. In portable mode, I'm still mostly playing in portable mode, which has been fantastic. And
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely do want a pro controller for playing Zelda
Is there anything
on the
else you're
stream.
looking for that hasn't been announced, like some kind of fantasy accessory that you can think of?
Our friend is here with my case. I'm very excited. Is there any fantasy thing? I guess honestly, the only thing I would really want, and someone actually already built this, is as you guys know, you can buy docks for like $90, which
No, it's 60,
is it 60 now?
which is I would say still overpriced, but it's 60. It's never
Good.
been 90.
Wasn't it 90? I thought
That
it
was
was.
like a just echo
Oh,
chamber thing.
oh, word. Someone 60 is still a little much, but not as crazy. I would love. I like the idea of the dock. I think it's cool. But I would love like a portable dock, like something that lets me take like a plug and play type thing, like a Google Chromecast type thing, except I can just take the Switch and plug it in at like a friend's place. Like maybe it's just a little dongle I stick in an HDMI, then I stick like the USB into the Switch, something like that,
So you want a
like a more portable version of the dock, basically.
like a USB, HDMI
I,
to micro USB, like something that's direct. Is that
exactly.
possible, or do you have to transfer the signal?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how complicated it would be though. I mean, again, if you guys have the thing, it's a pretty small piece of plastic. It doesn't seem like there's so much going on. And again, someone turned it into one. It's like a little like metal thing though. It does seem like it has like a little bit of stuff going on. Even if it's like a little like chunk of metal or something I have to bring around. And again, even if it's just something I have so I could like play. Obviously, as I've alluded to, I have like a 20 something inch TV in my room. Like it's okay, but we have like a big like 32-inch downstairs. So if I had something that I could just use and kind of take my Switch and plug and play Zelda downstairs when like my parents are sleeping, I'd be in heaven.
So something like that's a more portable dock, because the
Yes.
dock is pretty much the thing you have always at your TV, as if it's the console.
Yes.
You're not no one's really bringing that around.
Yes.
In theory, you take the Switch out to become portable, but in your case, and I'm sure other people would want to bring
Yeah.
the entire console with them. So
And
some kind of smaller thing that maybe has just wires coming out of it
it seems
instead
like
of
an
something.
yeah that I mean I think you could still make it clean and elegant, but I think especially with the portability of the Switch and like say I'm going over to a friend's house and they don't have a Switch yet, like I don't want to bring my dock, or like even carrying like an extra dock, like I mean they're small, but a little like thing would be so much,
Yeah,
it'd be so much better for that. And I think it'd be a cool way too to get the Switch in more people's homes because you see it, maybe your kids like it, you end up just buying one.
it is cool though if we lived in an all Switch world, because it's cool when you guys come over here. You can just throw yours on my
Oh,
TV,
it's awesome. Like
and
I
then
didn't
it's like it's not like you bring your game over to my house and then we play the game. You have your entire saves and games.
exactly. And literally the cool thing too, like again, like part of the reason I would want an extra dock is that there's something. Say if I was in a situation where I had multiple TVs in the house, or again, um, not really in this case, but like the cool thing is like we can all take turns with a dock and play big screen and then play portable. Like I know we do that a lot. Or like what is it? Dan bought Snake Pass, which is a game that I hear is a lot of fun. He just literally plopped his Switch into your dock, showed it to us on the big screen for like 5 minutes, and then he went home. I mean, I know right now even like we're about to finish this up. I'm probably gonna stop home and go. Well, I already have to run out and go get money for this kid for the case, but I'm also gonna stop home and get my Switch because I didn't bring it. Just because I actively like miss when I don't bring it here and like hang out with you guys. It does feel like I'm like out of the fun a little bit,
Well, I mean, when we both whip it out, it's a little tough if we're
It,
not all whipping it out.
if you're gonna if one of you's gonna whip it out, you all gotta whip it out.
You got all. We can't just two of you whip it out. If there's three of you, you got to all whip it out.
You gotta all whip it out. Well, speaking of whipping things out, I think it's time we whipped a big fat plate of this podcast is done out onto the table and smacked it down.
Sounds good.
Ruin, get it all over the food. Wow. Remember when we said we were going to be serious when we did this podcast?
I don't remember that.
I believe we had that kind of conversation. Anyway, listeners, as always.
No one could predict what this would digress into.
No. And, we're not even done. Rock bottom isn't even near us yet. But listeners, as always, I'm shaking Ben's hand.
That's the episode title.
Rock bottom isn't even here yet. As always, I am shaking Ben's hand. Metaphysically, I'm shaking yours as well. I've been actually shaking it for a while.
Is it clammy this time?
It's less clammy. It's a little clammy still. I'm not gonna pretend.
Damn.
I don't sugarcoat things, Ben. That's why you like me. That's why I'm a good business partner. As always, we wish everyone a good night and good luck. We thank you guys so much for staying with us for 10 episodes, and keep plugging.
Keep plugging. Number 10.